The observation deck of the Meridian Explorer hummed with the gentle thrum of quantum engines as Jason stood before the reinforced viewport, watching the swirling nebula paint the darkness with strokes of cosmic fire. 3 years into humanity's first deep space expedition, and the universe still managed to steal his breath. "You shouldn't be here," a melodic voice said from the shadows. Jason turned to find her, Jathera, the Velastran diplomat assigned to their vessel. She emerged partially from the dimness, her four arms crossed defensively across her chest, her bioluminescent markings pulsing in shades of deep violet and silver along her scaled skin. "The deck's open to all crew members," Jason replied gently. "Last I checked, that includes you." "I meant, in the light." Jathera's voice carried a weight that made Jason's chest tighten. "Humans have such delicate sensibilities. I've seen how your kind reacts to those who don't mirror your soft features and bilateral symmetry." Jason frowned, taking a careful step closer. Jathera had been aboard for 6 months, ever since the Velastran Concordat had agreed to guide humanity through the treacherous politics of the Galactic Assembly. In all that time, she'd kept to herself, always choosing the darkest corners, always present at briefings via hologram rather than in person. "Is that why you've been avoiding everyone?" he asked. Her secondary eyes, the smaller pair that sat above her primary ones, flickered with something that might have been pain. "My people, we are not considered pleasant to look upon. The Galactic Assembly tolerates us for our diplomatic skills, but I have seen the way other species avert their gaze. The Zinthari, with their crystalline beauty. The Morphians, who can shape themselves into any pleasing form. And then there are my people," she gestured to herself, "with our ridged faces, our scale patterns, our multitude of eyes. Frightening, they say. Jathera, even among my own kind, I am considered unfortunate." She turned away, her dorsal crest lowering. "My markings are asymmetrical. My scales bear scars from a childhood illness. My face is frightening." Jason's heart ached at the resignation in her voice. He thought of Emma, his co-pilot and best friend, who had spent the first month of their mission hiding the burn scars on her arms until Jason had told her they looked like starfire frozen in skin. He thought of every human who'd ever felt less than, every person who'd measured themselves against impossible standards and found themselves wanting. "May I approach?" he asked softly. Jathera's crest twitched, surprise, he'd learned. She nodded slowly. Jason closed the distance until he stood directly before her. This close, he could see the intricate detail of her bioluminescence, the way each scale caught and refracted the starlight streaming through the viewport. Her face, yes, was nothing like a human's, elongated, with a pronounced ridge running from her forehead down to her jaw, her four eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, her mouth wider and filled with translucent teeth that gleamed like opals. "Do you know what I see?" Jason asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Jathera's markings flickered rapidly. "Anxiety. A monster from your nightmares?" "No." Jason smiled, genuine and warm. "I see someone who navigated us through the Corvin blockade with such skill that we didn't fire a single shot. I see someone who taught Emma 17 different recipes for Velastran comfort food when she was homesick. I see someone who stayed up for 48 hours straight to help me debug the navigation algorithms. That is not, I see," Jason continued, reaching up slowly, telegraphing his movement, "the most intricate bioluminescent patterns I've ever witnessed. Did you know they change with your emotions? When you're concentrating on a problem, they pulse in this beautiful geometric sequence. When you laugh, which you should do more often, they cascade like waves." He gestured to her dorsal crest, carefully not touching without permission. "This, the way it moves, it's like watching poetry in motion. And your scales." He held up his own arm next to hers, his plain brown skin seeming dull in comparison. "They refract light in a way that human skin never could. You're like a living prism." Jathera's markings had shifted to a soft golden hue. "Wonder," Jason hoped. You truly believe this?" "I know this," Jason corrected. "Jathera, humans spent thousands of years defining beauty in the narrowest possible terms, excluding most of our own species in the process. We're finally learning that beauty isn't about conformity. It's about the unique combination of features that make someone themselves." He took a breath, choosing his next words carefully. "Your asymmetrical markings? They're like a thumbprint. absolutely unique in all the universe. Your scars? They're evidence that you survived, that you fought and won. And your face? He met all four of her eyes simultaneously, wanting her to see his sincerity. Your face is the face of someone who chose diplomacy over war, who bridges worlds with words, who has shown this crew nothing but patience and kindness. The galaxy does not see it this way, Jathera whispered, but her voice had lost some of its heaviness. Then the galaxy is wrong. Jason's voice carried absolute conviction. And I intend to prove it wrong, one person at a time if I have to. Starting with you believing it about yourself. Jathera was silent for a long moment, her markings cycling through colors Jason had never seen before. Finally, she spoke, her voice thick with emotion. No one has ever, in all my years, then they were fools, Jason said simply. And if I may be completely honest, you're not just beautiful by some inclusive philosophical standard. You're genuinely, objectively stunning. If you walked into a room on Earth, people would stop and stare, not in fear, but in awe. A sound emerged from Jathera, a chittering, musical laugh that Jason had only heard twice before. Her markings exploded into brilliant gold and silver, cascading across her skin like fireworks. You are either the kindest liar in the galaxy, she said, her secondary eyes gleaming with what might have been tears, or the most unusual human. I'm just someone who knows beauty when he sees it. Jason extended his hand, palm up, a gesture of friendship in both their cultures. And Jathera, you're the most beautiful person in this entire galaxy, not in spite of your differences, but because of them. Her primary hand met his, her scales cool and smooth against his skin. Thank you, she whispered, for seeing me. Thank you, Jason replied, for letting me. Beyond the viewport, the nebula continued its eternal dance, and two beings from different worlds stood together in the light, proving that beauty, true beauty, needed no translation.